The Super Bowl halftime. How you feel about Kendrick's performance?
Oh man, Kendrick killed it.
Okay.
Killed it.
Okay.
You know, the storytelling, the performance, the showmanship.
Yeah.
Drake is once again trolling Lucian Grainge, the CEO of UMG, by posting his daughter-in-law. He also unfollowed everybody on his burner and now only follows her. Messing with the labels like this is a very risky move.
It has a rich baby daddy named Lucian and Universal.
Wow.
He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy, Drake has a rich baby daddy.
I talked to a UMG executive earlier today, and he was like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know this to be the case, but it seemed like he trying to get out his deal. This is like a strategic play to get out his deal.
So Pusha T has officially joined the chat to comment on Kendrick's anti-Drake Super Bowl show. And it looks like Pusha is dropping some hints that this elimination of Drake was being orchestrated behind the scenes for a while. Kendrick just broke the Super Bowl halftime show record, pulling in over 130 million views, more than any other performer in history. And while everyone was celebrating Kendrick's moment, Pusha T popped up with a cryptic message that got fans convinced he was throwing major shade at Drake. Meanwhile, it looks like Drake is spiraling more and more every day. And he just escalated his beef with CEO Lucian Grainge by targeting Lucian's daughter-in-law, Sofia Richie. What's flaunting his relationship with Lucian and acting like he was untouchable. But now it's all blowing up in his face, and fans are saying he played himself because he signed a deal with the devil thinking he was special, and now he's paying the price. But instead of moving smart, Drake is pressing the self-destruct button. First of all, suing the label that gave you $400 million is definitely a choice. And now he's going after Lucian's family. Drake must have a career death wish because none of his moves lately have made any sense. And now with Pusha T hinting that Drake was always meant to lose, it begs the question, was this Drake's fate all along? Why is Drake moving like he's trying to permanently ruin what's...
Stand for nothing, you don't say nothing about nothing. You don't. And you run to the Memphis... Oh, I'm Memphis, Houston. That's my black side. You never related.
Pusha T has finally broken his silence on Kendrick Lamar's record-breaking Super Bowl halftime show, and fans are convinced he was sending a not-so-subtle message about Drake's downfall. Push took to his Instagram stories to acknowledge Kendrick's historic win. But it wasn't just a simple shout-out. His words had people reading between the lines. Pusha wrote, "Mission accomplished, congrats." Pusha also recently praised Kendrick's Super Bowl show while chatting to some paparazzi, and you could tell he was proud of Kendrick's accomplishment.
Super Bowl halftime. How you feel about Kendrick's performance?
Oh man, Kendrick killed it.
Okay.
Killed it.
Okay.
You know, the storytelling, the performance, the showmanship, the creativity. Real artist for real.
Yes, sir.
And he did it his way.
Okay.
Gotta respect.
But back to that mission accomplished comment from Push. Some fans are really zooming in on that part and saying he knew exactly what he was doing. People are saying Pusha was definitely hinting that Kendrick successfully sealed Drake's fate, something that Pusha himself played a major role in. Let's not forget that Pusha already cracked Drake's untouchable image back in 2018 when he dropped the story of Adidon and exposed Drake's secret son and baby mother to the world. That moment alone shifted the entire perception of Drake. And now with Kendrick's back-to-back takedowns and Drake spiraling into self-sabotage, it's looking like this was all part of a bigger plan to strip away Drake Golden Boy status for good. Now, let's talk about how Drake has been posting non-stop on his Spina. And while part of this is definitely promo for his new collab album with Party Next Door, this isn't just about Drake trying to make a musical comeback. Drake is now once again escalating his war with and making moves that could get him in even bigger trouble than he's already in. So as you already know, last month, Drake filed a federal defamation lawsuit against his own label, claiming they artificially boosted the success of Kendrick's diss track, Not Like Us. According to Drake, conspired with streaming services to artificially inflate the numbers and knowingly allowed a song that falsely accuses him of being a PDF file to go mega viral, now running to the courts over a rap beef, and suing the label instead of directly responding to Kendrick was already bad enough. But now Drake taking things to the next level and making it personal. And as he always does when he has a problem with a man, Drake is going after the women close to them. This time, he's targeting Sofia Richie Grainge, who's married to Lucian Grainge's son Elliot. On Tuesday, February 11th, Drake shared a picture of Sofia wearing an OVO shirt on his other Instagram page. And Sophia is now also the only person Drake follows from his Fina account. But Drake posting Sophia is already backfiring hard on fans. Are saying this just proves once again that Drake has zero self-awareness and has learned absolutely nothing from this beef. Plus, instead of coming directly for Kendrick or Lucian Grainge, Drake is targeting a woman who has nothing to do with this drama. And what makes this worse is that this isn't the first time Drake has taken cheap shots at women instead of directly addressing the men. He's beefing with Meek Mill. Drake went after Nicki with Pusha T. He brought up Pusha's bans Virginia against Kendrick. He kept throwing shots at Whitney with DJ Mustard. It was his ex-wife. And when MD said Drake makes pop music, Drake went and followed his daughter, who had just turned 18. And now that he's in a full-on war with Lucian Grainge, Drake is coming for his daughter-in-law, who by the way is 12 years younger than Drake, married, and has an 8-month-old baby. Now you would think that with all the allegations swirling around Drake and young women, he would be extra careful and steer clear of dragging any women and children into his beef. But it's like he just can't help himself. And now fans are saying that despite all that talk from Drizzy's supposedly being unbothered, it's crystal clear that he's spiraling in real time. And the way things are looking, it's only going to get worse. One fan said, "Mind you, Drake has to be aware of how destructive his fans have been lately. So to post Sophia, who's minding her married business with her little baby girl, knowing your deranged fans will flood her comments and socials on your behalf is actually nasty if he's a B." And someone else wrote, "You posting Sophia Richie, who is not only married to Lucian Gr's son, but is the daughter of Lionel Richie. Sure, Drake's fans have no clue who he is. LOL. When you mess with powerful men's families, don't cry when they pull a plot twist on you." Now, let's talk about Lucian and his fallout with Drake, because that seems to be the real reason behind Drake's meltdown. Apparently, Drake is convinced that Lucian plotted against him, which makes zero sense considering Drake was biggest cash cow for years. And now Drake's fans are trying hard to spin this lawsuit as some revolutionary move, claiming that Drake is suing as a way to fight the whole industry and help small independent artists fight against these evil labels. But let's be real, Drake had no problem being Lucian's golden child when it benefited him. In fact, he was more than happy to flex his special privileges, constantly bragging about how different his deal was from other artists. He even dropped Lucian in multiple songs, acting like he was untouchable because of how they were.
Done changed. Billionaires talk to me different when they see my pay stuff from Lucian Grainge. Who the CEO of Universal? They're mistaken, cause Google's saying Lucian, but that just doesn't make sense. Who got Lucian? I said, f it, I'm tearing holes in my budget. All I know is that God got me. I'm sitting on large properties. Treat me like a newborn. Lucian not dropping me.
What's wild is that before this whole mess with Kendrick, Drake wasn't just another artist. He was Lucian's golden boy. Back in 2021, Drake locked in one of the biggest deals in music history, rumored to be worth $4,500 million. And Lucian himself made it clear that Drake could have whatever he wanted.
On Stay Schemin', Drake says, "Tell Lucian I said I'm tearing holes in my budget."
Tell Lucian I said I'm tearing holes in my budget.
Did Drake call you up after that and say, "Hey, I need more money for my project"?
If ever Drake or whenever Drake calls up and says he needs more money for his project, I give it to him.
Now, there are a few theories floating around about what caused this huge fallout between Drake and Lucian. Some people are saying that Drake may have gotten a bit too comfortable in his position as cash cow and tried to push his luck. According to some sources, Drake tried to renegotiate his deal and demanded a whopping $600 million from Lucian. But the problem is Drake forgot who's really in charge. Despite all his success, Lucian's the boss, and Drake is still just an employee, no matter how big he got.
What I'm hearing. So Drake, supposedly in this $400 million deal, he had one more deliverable, which is the Party Next Door album. Now, prior to the beef in May, there was going to be a last project that would then catapult Drake into his next deal. It's like basketball. These guys are like restricted free agents, right? You don't let them become a free agent before you negotiate and lock them into another deal. What happens is when you're at your last project, y'all start talking. It's like contract year. Think about NBA. All right, you playing basketball. Sometimes they be like, yo, I'm too injured to play. When it's contract year, you suck up that injury, you got to play because you want that bigger contract next. Here's the interesting thing. Before Drake could drop that and then potentially be a free agent, he's been negotiating. He's been thinking, I'm going to go get a bigger payday. maybe $600 million. The beef happens, and from what I've been, told, the conversations have severely not gone in Drake's favor. The re-upping or whatever, it's just not what Drake would think.
But then there's another theory making the round. And some fans are speculating that this has something to do with Diddy's case because last year Lucian was named in one of the lawsuits filed against Diddy. Remember that lawsuit producer Lil Rod filed against Diddy? Well, it wasn't just targeting Diddy. It also had some serious accusations aimed at Lucian and Lil Rod suggested that Lucian and Diddy's connection could be more than just a business deal and said Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Grainge visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida and Los Angeles, California. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant GRA visited Mr. Combs at his homes, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours. Lucian of aiding, abetting, and inducing Diddy's criminal venture, and claimed that Lucian was one of Diddy's co-conspirators, who knowingly benefited from Diddy's alleged crimes. According to Lil Rod, Lucian was providing vast sums of cash, which made Diddy's criminal venture possible. And on top of that, Lil Rod alleged that Diddy might have Lucian on tape doing questionable things at these freak of parties. But here's where things get shady. In May 2024, just a few months after Lil Rod filed his lawsuit, news came out that Lucian and were dropped from the list of people being sued.
Lucian Grainge and Universal Music Group are now dropped from the Diddy lawsuit. Tyrone Blackburn dropped them from the lawsuit with prejudice after the attorneys for Universal Music Group and Lucian Grainge said that the accusations were so offensively false that they plan to seek legal penalties directly against the lawyer Tyrone Blackburn and not even the accuser. And I feel like the only reason that Tyrone Blackburn dropped them from this lawsuit is because he knows how good of attorneys these actually are, and they're backed by Universal Music Group and Lucian Grainge, so there's some big money behind them.
And guess what else went down in May 2024? Kendrick dropped 3 diss tracks aimed at not just at Drake, but at the whole industry. 616 in Law, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us. So just when Lucian and thought they'd escape the heat from Lil Rod's lawsuit, Kendrick and Drake's beef started to really heat up. And Kendrick wasn't just coming after Drake. Remember on Meet the Grams, Kendrick WPS. I've been in this industry 12 years and I'ma tell y'all one little secret. It's some weirdish going on, and some of these artists be here to police it. They be streamlining victims all inside of their home and calling them tender, then leak videos of themselves to further push their agendas. So basically, Kendrick, keep things in check. There's someone even bigger pulling the strings. And you already know was watching all of this closely, because the last thing Lucian needed was more negative publicity, tying him to allegations about PDF files in the industry, especially after he got his name cleared from Lil Rod's lawsuit. But here's where it gets even crazier. Some people also started speculating that Diddy's whole setup with T-freak-off parties and secret recordings was actually a blackmail scheme put together by his higher-ups for their political agendas.
Of lawsuits against him are not only shockingly detailed, but allude to connections to powerful entertainment industry figures with ties to Zionist causes. One of the key lawsuits was filed by music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. He accuses Diddy of participation in an Epstein-style ring and threats of physical violence. Jones alleges that Diddy hosted substance-fueled parties which youth, funded by powerful figures like Universal Music Group CEO Lucian Grainge. Jones claims these parties were secretly recorded to blackmail high-profile individuals, including music executives and politicians. Lucian Grainge is a billionaire Zionist known for supporting Israeli causes. He's been associated with high-profile events, including the Friends of the IDF Gala, which raises funds for the Israeli military. Grainge's wife, Caroline Grainge, also funds several Zionist organizations. Running in the same circles is Haim Saban, an Israeli-American media proprietor, Democratic Party power player, and mega donor to Zionist causes. Saban Music Group and Universal Music Group have a partnership that includes global distribution and marketing. Another former Universal Music Group figure moonlighting as a Zionist lobbyist is David Renzer. Renzer founded an organization called Creative Community for Peace, which organizes Hollywood celebrities to speak out on behalf of Israel and against the aims of Palestinian activists. Another music industry executive closely associated with P. Diddy, Clive Davis, has partnered with Creative Community for Peace. In 1994, provided funding for the then 23-year-old Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Universal Music Group and Lucian Grainge have since been dropped from Rodney Jones's lawsuit against Diddy. They were dismissed from the lawsuit after attorneys for UMG argued that the accusations against the company were offensively false and that they would seek legal penalties against Jones's lawyer Tyrone Blackburn. On October 8, 2023, Diddy posted on social media in support of Israel. That same month, he reportedly signed the No Hostage Left Behind letter thanking President Biden for his quote-unquote leadership regarding Gaza.
So yeah, after Lucian managed to stay out of the Diddy drama, the last thing he wanted was for the Drake versus Kendrick beef to bring all those allegations back up. And that's why some people think Lucian told Drake to stay quiet after Not Like Us drop. But Drake decided to go against his boss and bite the hand that feeds him. He felt disrespected and embarrassed, and he couldn't let it go, especially after all those years when and Lucian made him feel untouchable. However, since Drake knew he couldn't beat Kendrick with his lyricism, he made a bold move to sue his own label for defamation, claiming that let Kendrick release Not Like Us and make money off of false claims. But now people are saying Drake is risking it all with this lawsuit. UMG is the biggest label in the world, and going up against them is a quick way to get knocked down, and history's shown that no artist is bigger than the system. But what's your take on all these weird moves Drake's been making lately, like posting Sophia Gra? Do you think it's just him spiraling, or is there something deeper going on? What do you think really happened between Drake and Lucian? And do you think Drake will ever bounce back to his former glory? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss out on this next video.